MMA is one of the toughest sport, but one-on-one. It's like शादी का घोड़ा होता है ना. You know that you are safe in that cage. There's only a referee and you only have to fight this guy. But when you are in the street, it's not this guy. It is also this guy. That guy I don't know. You need a lot of components in street. You need to know long range, close range, medium range, extreme close quarter, takedowns, stack and shield, strategy. It is very technical.
Meet Shifu Kanishka Sharma, India's first Shaolin warrior monk, master of 9 martial arts, and trainer to commandos and movie stars. His journey from Delhi to the Shaolin temple proves what obsession and discipline can build.
Which is the closest art that one can learn to neutralize street fight?
In a real street scenario, I should be able to terminate you and finish you in 3 seconds. If I have to off-balance you, I don't need few force. I off-balance the apex of you. अगर 5 टन का हाथी और 50 टन की ट्रेन ऐसे टकराएगी, हाथी मर जाएगा. ये 50 टन की ट्रेन अगर ऐसे जा रही है और 5 टन का हाथी ऐसे मार दे, पूरी ट्रेन डिरेल हो जाती है. So martial arts, it's a science.
We're always fight ready. What is the impact of that psychologically and emotionally on an individual?
जो सशक्त होता है वही सुरक्षित होता है सर. I know how much hurt I can give you and that is the reason I will not hit you.
Why do they have all these complicated names? I was going through the different ways of martial arts that you've learned, be it karate, be it Shaolin, Kung Fu, then Muay Thai, and then JKD, and then Kai Chi. They're such complicated names, ना?
अब आप संस्कृत का कोई नाम दे देंगे तो उनको लगेगा कि क्या बोल रहा है. But they all have very specific, very specific meaning to it. Why the name Shaolin?
Yeah.
You know? It has nothing to do with martial arts.
It has got nothing to do with martial arts.
Shaolin has nothing to do with martial arts. The
Okay.
name in itself. Yeah, and it's the kung fu which was practiced inside the Shaolin temple was called Shaolin Kung Fu. Okay. The name is Shaolin Se. Se is temple. Okay.
Shaolin Sir.
Se. It's Chinese is a very tonal language. It's like ma,
Yeah.
ma. All 4 ma has different meaning. And so one ma is mother. Ma means horse. So tone changes, the meaning change. Okay. Like Shifu is teacher. Shifu means washing clothes.
Yeah, I just know one word. It says ni hao.
Honey means hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ni hao. So that's what I remember. One of my initial visits to China. It was in Shenzhen.
Shenzhen, yeah.
What a beautiful experience. The only challenge was language, and of course, I didn't know what to eat. And that was one of my one of the first few international visits. So it was complicated, but there was a huge amount of learning.
So like I was telling, Shao in Chinese means small. Da is big. So, and Shaolin temple was not made for Bodhidharma. It's a big confusion people have. People always associate Shaolin temple with Bodhidharma. So Bodhidharma was the one who got there. He was the founder of Shaolin Kung Fu, which is absolutely wrong. Shaolin temple was made for the first Indian Buddhist monk, Buddhabhadra. Okay, he's known as Batuo in China. Batuo. Batuo, okay. Buddhabhadra. So the king ordered to make a monastery so that he can preach Buddhism. So what would you name the monastery? So there were 2 mountain ranges still existing, Daoshi and Shaoxi. The big mountain,
Shaoxi.
yeah, the big mountain and the small mountain range. In the valley of the small mountain range of the forest, there was a temple made, and it was called Shaolin Se, the little forest temple.
So in the foothills of the smaller mountain, there is a temple called Shaolin Sa.
Yeah, that's it.
And there, you decided at an age of 7 that one day I would like to go there. Why would a small child, barely 7 years, would aspire to go to a place and go there and say, teach me suffering? Why would you do that?
That's because of my a person called Suraj Bhai, and he used to drive car for my father, and He used to narrate me the stories of these kung fu movies, 36 Chambers of Shaolin, Mad Monkey Kung Fu, Forever Mine. उस एज में हमारे टाइम में पंचतंत्र कथाएं होती थी, बच्चे वो सुनते थे, वो मुझे कुंग फू स्टोरी सुनाता था. And he would like do action pa 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 like that, and he would get these movies. And one day he got 36 Chambers of Shaolin. And I saw that film. My father came, I was small, and I started telling him, I want to be a Shaolin monk. I want to be this, I want to be this. Of course, like bacha bol raha hai, And at that time there was no Kung Fu available, so Suraj Bhai put me into karate. That's how I had learned karate.
And by any chance, what you're wearing in your left hand,
Yeah.
has it got to do anything with that movie? Because the movie begins where a person is combating and practicing.
This is very
with
special.
something. Yeah.
My Shifu's sister, she is a Zen dancer and a healer. And she has some equipments and she moves, and these stones get aligned to your body, and then she picks it. I don't see it, there's a random box. So I got, you see, this, it's like namaste. Yeah. Then I have the paw, the tiger.
Beautiful.
The claw, okay. So like this, they are miwa, the plum flower, okay, like this. So each thing was handpicked by me, and then she rotated and she made this for me, very special, yeah. So,
Coming back to that movie, today when I look at, today when you look at the movie, and today you are so ingrained, you are an embodiment of Shaolin, what they teach there, right? How close that movie was, how true that movie was.
well, when I went to Shaolin, the forms which are showed in that movie, none of that was taught. They were different forms I was learning. It was different, Of course, movie is a movie. The training was very, very hard, If you see the movie, the training was hard. The training was equally very hard for me to do, And for 15 days, I was on Combi Flame. It was 7 hours training a day. Because if you compare how people train martial arts in India, हफ्ते में 3 दिन 2 घंटे की क्लास, तो एक हफ्ते में 6 घंटा, एक महीने में 24 घंटा. There I am training 7 hours a day, every day. Sunday is the only day off. Number 2, the place where I was staying, you won't believe that there was no shower. We get a small ऐसे वाली bucket होती है ना, गोल सी, हाँ छोटी, वो एक गमछा और एक टीन का डिब्बा, वो मिलता है. You have to eat in that. With that you have to wipe yourself off. हफ्ते में एक दिन मैं शावर लेने जाता था. When I first went there and I asked, I had become friends with one of these guys, Mohammed. He was from France. Momo. And I was like, Momo, I need shower. He said, oh, wait. After 1 week. I said, why after 1 week? He said, no, so वो एक ऐसा पूरा रैम्प था जहाँ पे बहुत सारे नल लगे हैं, उसी में आप टांग रखते हो, and you're brushing, you're cleaning yourself, you're training every day. And then he took me to this place, and I was zapped, 200 people taking shower together. It was a public shower place, so life was very difficult at that point of time. And I'm talking about 2001, not now. China now is a different country. It's open to foreigners now, it's digitally very, it's 50 years ahead of India.
Yeah.
If I tell people won't imagine, I say go to China and see what it is.
I so much resonate with you.
Yeah. But at that time, language barrier, food barrier, sleeping, I used to sleep in लकड़ी का फट्टा bunk bed, एक टांग पे दूसरी टांग लग रही है एक दूसरे के ऊपर. आज आप जाते हैं, the foreigners have these, you've got nice rooms, AC, you've got shower. None of that was there. It was very difficult, very, very hard for me to train at that point of time.
During that time, Shifu, did this thought cross your mind? क्या मुझसे अब नहीं होगा यार? हाँ. Tell us about that.
So वो हुआ. I was in so much pain, and I took a bus. तब 1 yuan में बस मिलती थी, and they were like these ladies and men shouting, Koila, Shaolin sir, Dangfeng is a city, and it was far. So boarded that bus, went and made that trunk call. My mom picked up, and she could hear that, my voice was little heavy and
Mom said,
शायद मैं कहना चाहता था कि
I want to come back.
I want to come back. And she said कि जो तुम बोलना चाहते हो वो बोलना मत. और जो काम करने गए हो वो करके आना. Don't call me for that. She kept the phone down. And if anyone knows my mother, you know, she has pampered me so much, like you can't imagine. If I say something, she'll do it for me. She was a different mother. She kept the phone on me. And that was very shocking for me.
How was it for you?
Very, very, I was like, you know, stunned, like what just happened, you know. And then, you know, I turned, I took a bus and I started walking. That was a changing moment of my life. I was in front of Shaolin temple and I just looked like this, right? I said, all my life, from the age of 7, 8, I aspired to be here. I just wanted to be this, just wanted to do this. You know, लोग millionaire बनना चाहते हैं, कोई कुछ करना चाहता है, मैं सिर्फ ये करना चाहता था. और आज मैं इधर हूँ, how can I have this feeling of, and something snapped in my brain. And उसके बाद I never looked back. I trained like a mad man, you know. I was like unstoppable.
But was there any moment when you literally cried
Every
because
day.
of the pain?
Every day.
Tears rolling down your cheek.
Every day. One time the Shifu also threw my luggage out. Yeah. We have to run this mountain, Damodong, where the statue of Bodhidharma is there. It's a 1,000-meter high mountain. We have to run and crawl back in 20 minutes. Sprint up, crawl back like a dog, like this. And then sit down in squat position, which is horse stance, for 35-40 minutes.
35-40 minutes?
Yeah. और नीचे एक अगरबत्ती लगी है इतनी बड़ी, so you get burnt.
Nah.
Squat down. ऊपर उठते थे तो वो टीचर डंडा मारता था. So my legs were like shivering like this. You know, I'm not used to this because India में इस तरीके से कराते नहीं है. You know, and the teacher, he was pushing me down. The instructor was pushing me down. And you know, I just did a little bit like this, you know. It's paining. And I think Shifu saw that. And then water break was given, and then 10 minutes I saw all my bags picked up. I kept it outside the school. And the translator came and he said, Shifu said, you don't want to train. This is not how we train here. And it was evening, they closed the door. I slept outside on the CD the whole night. Morning 5:30, opened the door again. I went to Shifu, I bowed down, I apologized and I said, sorry, I want to train. And that was one of the lesson, you know, you have to learn to respect. My first teacher was Shi Maojun. He was 8-year-old kid, small boy.
Okay.
And I refused to train with him because I was like, oh, man, I've trained, you know, I had ego. I've trained karate, I've trained kung fu tua and stuff, and what would a boy, you know, this young boy train me? And Shifu said, how much Shaolin kung fu do you know? And I said, but I know karate and kung fu. He said, no, how much kung fu do you know? I said, I don't know. He said, this boy has been training here since the age of 4. He's your senior. And he's an instructor. So you can learn from anyone in your life. That was the first lesson I got.
So if I were to ask you, Shifu, that, and if you have to tell me the top 3 things, what is the cost of becoming a Shifu? Either physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. You have given few examples. If you say, yeah, ये 3 तो cost पड़ती है.
Cost नहीं बोलूँगा मैं उसको. You have to be, ये 3 चीज़ मेरे फादर ने जो मुझे बोली ना, वही लगती है किसी भी चीज़ में सक्सेस पाने के लिए.
And those are?
So my father had cancer, he passed away. उनकी 13वीं करके ही मैं गया था. So I was in AIMS, I came and my father asked me, this is so linked to what you've just said. And I've always spoken about this. And he said, how do you feel in your job? And then I told him, I said, it's not demeaning any job because कोई job छोटा बड़ा नहीं होता. I said, I feel like a glorified clerk, you know, it's not me. You know, मैंने कहा आज से 15-20-25 साल बाद वाइस प्रेसिडेंट भी बन जाऊंगा तो मैंने कहा नीचे जो पनवाड़ी बैठता है एक वो और जितने डीलर्स होंगे ये उससे ज़्यादा कोई नहीं जानेगा मेरे को, और ये मैं करना नहीं चाहता. He said, क्या करना चाहते हो? I said, you know what I want to do. पूरी ज़िंदगी मैं एक ही चीज़ कर रहा हूँ. Then he said, who's stopping you? And what is stopping you? Money? What is stopping you? Then he said, remember two things in life. He said, number one, always make your passion as your profession. Do what you love doing. You cannot love everything in your life. Number three, whatever you want to do, be the best in it. He said, it's a choice you make. आपको झुंड में चलना है भेड़ की तरह या शेर की तरह अकेला चलना है. शेर बनने के लिए बड़ा सैक्रिफाइस लगता है. To be big, it requires a bigger sacrifice. And he said, when you have to be the best, you got to go mad over it. It cannot be 50% of your commitment. It has to be 101% of your commitment. So he said कि तेरे को ड्राइवर बनना है ना तो प्रेसिडेंट की गाड़ी चलाइयो. काम छोटा बड़ा नहीं होता. He said, कमिटमेंट में कोई कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए. डिसिप्लिन में कोई कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए लाइफ में. एंड द ड्राइविंग फोर्स विल बी योर लव एंड पैशन. 100 बार गिरोगे बट 100 बार वही लव और पैशन है जो वापस उठा के काम कराएगा तुम्हें. लोगों के पास पैसा बहुत होता है लेकिन वीकेंड्स में अपना पैशन ढूंढते हैं आज भी लोग. दे हैव द मनी बट दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. सो ही सेड दीज आर द 3 थिंग्स. और यही 3 चीज़ आदमी की काम करती हैं लाइफ में. डिसिप्लिन, the fire you have behind it, and the worst enemy for any person is average.
We settle for being average.
Settle for being average. You don't challenge yourself. जो मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ ना, यहाँ पे मास्टर्स ब्लैक बेल्ट बन के बैठ जाते हैं ऐसे. I'm 48 now और I've seen a lot of masters at 45. ऐसे मोटा मोटा पेट है, बड़ी बड़ी एसोसिएशंस चला रहे हैं, you know, बड़ी बड़ी बातें कर रहे हैं. आई वॉन्ट टू आस्क देम, कितने साल हो गए आपने ट्रेनिंग की है? कितने साल हो गए? मैं आज भी जाता हूँ 2 महीने 3 महीने के लिए. आज भी लाखों रुपए इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ अपनी ट्रेनिंग में. आई वुड हैव इन्वेस्टेड मिलियंस ऑन माई ट्रेनिंग. एंड दिस वॉज द लास्ट थिंग माई फादर टोल्ड मी which is related to this. He said, always remember, money is never your fixed deposit. Knowledge is. Invest in your knowledge. कभी भूखे नहीं मरोगे लाइफ.
शिफू, बहुत बार ये ऐसा होता है कि people are able to identify their passion. I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about that. Deep down, most of us struggle to identify कि यार यही मेरा passion है. I would like to invest my whole life on this. वो identify कैसे होता है? पता कैसे चलता है?
वो तो अंदर से आता है. अब like I used to play football also. I played for Delhi State also. Okay, and I was into sports. But why only martial arts?
मतलब ये ऐसा कौन सा मोमेंट था?
Shaolin Kung Fu.
वैसा वो कौन सा मोमेंट था?
हाँ.
जब आपने कहा यार फुटबॉल नहीं, कराटे नहीं, Shaolin Kung Fu यस. वो जो
ये जो आपका फेस का एक्सप्रेशन है ना, जब आप उसको ट्रेन करते हो ना तब आप सब भूल जाते हो. जब आप वो काम करोगे ना आपको कुछ याद नहीं रहेगा. फोन, फैमिली, बच्चा, बीवी, मुंह पे बोलता हूँ. Deepika always tells me, he said, when you are doing martial arts, no one exists. That connection of oneness to the divine, वो moment आपको, वो happiness.
One of my teachers told me कि गौरव जिस दिन एक मास्टर से मिलेगा ना, उस दिन अंदर तेरे शांति आ जाएगी. More than having this conversation as a podcast, for me it's a moment when I actually want to experience that divine intervention. And I'm experiencing it. I'm experiencing that deep sense of stillness while I'm sitting with you.
एक बहुत छोटी सी स्टोरी मैं आपको बताता हूँ. जो एक डिवाइन इंटरवेंशन होता है और एक कनेक्ट होता है. ये जो मैंने आपको अभी बताया कि आई वाज लर्निंग फ्रॉम अ स्मॉल बॉय एंड देन आई वाज ट्रेनिंग विद इंस्ट्रक्टर्स एंड आई वाज नॉट एबल टू ट्रेन विद द मास्टर शिफू. एंड देयर वर 7-8 फॉरेनर्स एट दैट टाइम देयर. एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स वीज़ा ख़त्म हो गया, वापस इंडिया आ गए. And then they emailed me, they said they have switched to another master. He has a big school next to a river, and the master teaches there himself. Okay. So I said, okay, I also want to learn from a master. So I made my flights, and at that time, अभी तो through check-in हो जाता है, you collect your luggage from. उस time पे China में there was through check-ins were not there. You had to collect your luggage from whichever intermediary airport and then reboard it. I had no such knowledge like this. I thought my luggage is checked through. और जैसे हमारे इंडियंस मदर होती हैं उस टाइम पे कुछ पैसा अपने पास रख लो, कुछ बैग में डाल लो.
हाँ.
तो उन्होंने
आज भी ऐसे करता हूँ.
आज भी ऐसे करते हैं. तो मेरी मदर ने 80% पैसा उसमें डाल दिया.
हाँ.
और $200 मैंने अपने पाउच में रख लिए.
जी.
मेरा बैग खो गया. I lost my luggage. And I landed in Zhengzhou. Now I'm left with $200 and no bag, nothing. So I was like, देखी जाएगी, and let me, because those foreigners are living here for a long time, maybe they'll be able to help me. So I reached Shaolin, and उस ज़माने में Shaolin temple जाने के लिए 15 minutes का walk लगता था पैदल, और there were lot of shops there, खाने की पीने की, and बहुत छोटे inns होते थे, you could stay. अभी rule बहुत different है, you have to have a proper authority where foreigners can stay, otherwise you can't stay in any hotel in China. You need to have a proper legal paper. So I used to eat Chinese food from this very small tuck shop, तो मैं उसके पास गया because मैं उसको जानता था. And I asked her that, टूटी फूटी Chinese में that, I lost my stuff and tomorrow morning I will leave. These two guys will come and pick me up because मैंने उनको email में लिखा था. तो रात को मैं एक छोटे कमरे में सोया, और जो $100 थे उससे मैंने कुछ कपड़े वपड़े खरीदे. आई थॉट कि आई नीड क्लोथ्स, आई बॉट माई अंडरगारमेंट्स, ब्रश एंड स्टफ. अब मेरे पास मुश्किल से $100 कुछ ऐसे $50-80 बचे होंगे. सुबह में सो के उठा, नाश्ता खाया, एंड द डेजिग्नेटेड टाइम वाज 7:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. This guy didn't show up. Now I am lost in this country. I don't know what to do. I am really sad, in tears, because अब पैसा भी नहीं है मेरे पास. फ्लाइट उस ज़माने में ऑनलाइन चेंज नहीं होती थी. इफ़ यू हैड टू चेंज अ फ्लाइट, यू हैड टू गो टू बीजिंग टू चेंज. और वो लीफलेट्स वाली टिकट होती थी ना, इफ़ यू रिमेंबर.
Yes.
हाँ. I started walking towards Shaolin temple. And ये जो shops थी ये थोड़ी बाहर की ओर थी. So I was on a main road. My head is down. I walked 5-6 minutes. सुबह सुबह मतलब वही 10-10:30 बजे. I think it was Sunday, so it's generally holiday. And suddenly one car comes and stops in front of me. And it honks. Bang. And my Shifu calls me Chaudu there. Because they couldn't pronounce my name Kanishk. So मेरी माँ मुझे छोटू बोलती थी घर पे. So they called me Chaudu like this. So somebody called my name Chaudu. So I was like, who the hell in the middle of the road is?
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, I said out of nowhere. And he said Chaudu. So I peeped into the car, and the same master came back जिनको मैं धोखा देने जा रहा था. He picks me up, takes me inside the car. He thought that I'm coming to him to train with him. And I'm getting goosebumps now.
I'm getting teary.
Yeah. And he drives me to the school, and he gives me food, he gives me everything. And I still haven't told him, that कि मैं आपको धोखा दे रहा था. So the translator comes, and I told the translator कि, I've lost my luggage, everything. And Shifu's like, very lovingly, like a father, he's like, oh, no problem, have your food and stuff. He drives me back to the airport, fills that form, and we waited for 2-3 days. Luggage was not recovered. And now I had planned to stay for 2 months there, You know, I had no money, no fees to pay him. He didn't charge me a penny. He trained me, okay, and I was feeling so choked from inside. I said, I have to tell you something. I said, this is what had happened, and I, I said, I can't lie to you anymore, Shifu. And he just smiled at me. He said, it's okay. That day, that bond between me and him, I can't tell you. And it is still till today. You know, there's so many people who comes to him and train with him. And when I go to his school, he will not have lunch without me. He will shout in the lobby in his school, Chalo, Shafama! You know, for anything, he would ask me, like, I'm here, the boss of my, last year when Deepika went after the lockdown, like, I don't do anything in my school, big school, you know. Got workers working for me, cutting grass, and Deepika takes care of, you know, everything. And in the morning, she just saw me. शीफू ने मुझे वो दे रखा है और मैं पूरे स्कूल की घास काट रहा हूँ. She comes out, she said, तुम एक पत्ता नहीं उठाते हो यहाँ पे. And I was like, then she understood. She said, this is my father. I lost my father. For me, he became my father. Anything. And it is not that he doesn't say it. He just looks at me. And I do it. It is that kind of connect I have with him. That kind of connect.
That's what you call as divine intervention.
This is the divine intervention.
You were supposed to lose that luggage. If
Yeah.
not for that, you would not have met
I
this
would have
teacher.
not found Shifu and a father.
For
And the
a
story
reason.
is not finished.
Okay.
And I kept training under him. I wanted to be his disciple. You know, a very important thing in Shaolin Kung Fu is like we don't have belts.
We don't have belts.
You don't have belts. Okay. You're either a student and then you become a disciple. Okay. So for disciple, you have to do a ceremony called Baishi.
Baishi.
You go down on your knee and you serve tea to your master. And he
Beautiful.
accepts and he sips that tea. And then, of course, he gives you some rules, regulation, codes. And then you become part of his family, like an adopted son, you know, like a legacy carrier. So one day, I got up and again it was Sunday, the translator came. Shifu's called you. So I went, so I was all about to leave to Denfeng to have some good meal and stuff. And I came and said, hey Shifu. So he told me, he said, get fruits for 10 monks, go to city, get fruits for 10 monks, put whatever you want to put in red envelope, and this. So I didn't understand why, but I don't question this.
Yeah.
So I go, I do it, and I come back, you know, and then Shifu's ready, and it's a room, big room, with a big Buddha statue, and the translator said, Shifu's asking you to kneel down. Okay, I kneel down. And then I saw the monks entered. The video is still on YouTube. 10, 15 of them standing and they're chanting something. I said, what's happening? Then, as like something very important is happening in my life. So Momo, my best friend, he's like, he's accepting you as your disciple. And then, of course, I bowed down and stuff. And what he trained me after that was different Kung Fu what I was learning in school. The real essence of Kung Fu, he would teach me how to fix, because Shaolin Kung Fu is Chan, Wu, Yi. Zen, martial arts, medicine.
Zen, martial arts and medicine.
That is Shaolin. Shaolin Kung Fu is not just fighting.
Not fighting only.
Yeah, it's not just fighting. You have to learn Chan Buddhism, okay? Chan is like what Bodhidharma gave. He's known as the founder of Chan Buddhism, not founder of Kung Fu, okay? He said like, you won't achieve enlightenment by reciting some textbook. Achieve enlightenment through practice, through training. So whatever you do in your life is meditation. Right now we are meditating. We are in that conversation. So the word kung fu, kung is energy and fu is time. Anything in
Energy
life,
and time.
anything in life which you do with right energy and right timing becomes kung fu. तो वो सलाद काटने का कुंफू हो सकता है, गाड़ी चलाने का कुंफू हो सकता है, फाइटिंग का कुंफू हो सकता है. Correct energy and correct timing. That is the divine intervention. That is the true essence of kung fu. So when I stayed with Shifu, I cooked food in the temple for people. Sometimes, he would ask me to be a security guard outside the school. I did a lot of things which a lot of foreigners would never do. And that is what framed me in kung fu, in terms of depth. He took me through the hardship of what a real kung fu, to be a kung fu teacher, you need to go through. Not just come and learn a curriculum and go back. And that's what I see. It's so shallow now. A lot of Indian they go for 1 year, 2 years, 3 months. They're just doing some forms. They wear these nice dress and stuff. And they call themselves masters, shifus and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Shifu, be it Karate Kid or be it movies like Chandni Chowk to China, one of the statements that stayed with me, उसमें कहते हैं कि यार मुझे उससे डर नहीं लगता जिसको 10,000 टेक्निक्स आती हैं. मुझे उससे डर लगता है जिसने एक टेक्निक 10,000 टाइम्स प्रैक्टिस की गई है.
That was something said by Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah?
Yeah.
Also, in a book called Outliers, he has spoken about the rule of 10,000 hours to achieve your mastery. To further add to that, there's a book called Mastery. In that book called Mastery, there's a beautiful sentence. It says, a master truly spends more than half of his life on a plateau where he does not see the shifts. To further add to that, अगर आप एक बैम्बू ट्री को देखते हैं, 5 साल तक कुछ शिफ्ट नहीं, 9 हफ्तों में 90 फुट ऊपर. वो जो 10,000 घंटे की जो प्रैक्टिस है, वो जो 10,000 मूवमेंट हैं, वो जो 5 साल हैं, what does it do to your brain neurologically, emotionally? I mean, what transformation does that mind goes through in those hours, in those repetition?
Muscle memory.
Tell me more about that.
मैं आपको अपना experience, I've had couple of street fights. I've fought 5 people. I've saved myself from a knife stab. Okay, and why I'm saying this? We say this. 1 minute of fighting in the street is almost like training 1 year in the dojo. That much of training hours you require, in your... Because what happens, whenever there is a stress situation, what is the first thing which happens is, heart starts to beat. The adrenaline starts to secrete. Hypothalamus is working.
Yeah, cortisol gets
Yeah,
produced.
it is
Stress
on.
hormones.
You start sweating.
Sweating, yeah.
So कई बार आपने सुना होगा लोगों को, यार मैं हाथ नहीं उठता, मतलब चलना बंद हो जाता है सब कुछ.
फ्रीज हो जाता हूँ मैं.
फ्रीज हो जाते हैं. तो मार्शल आर्ट्स क्या करता है आपको, यही सिचुएशन में you become more zen. Everything comes like slow motion to you. It's like the punch is coming, but you can see it coming like...
It's like this,
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah. It is like this. You don't know. If, like, so many people ask me, how did you fight 5 people? I say, I don't know. There's a saying in Kung Fu, you don't see from the eyes, you see from the touch what he's going to do.
What he's going to do?
Yeah. That's a special close quarter fighting system in Kung Fu. Okay?
Wow.
You can move. There's a saying, for example, in a layman's language, they won't understand. एक ट्रेन कितने टन की होती है? 100 टन, 50 टन, कितना भी कैरी. हाथी कितने टन का होगा? 10 टन, 5 टन. अगर 5 टन का हाथी और 50 टन की ट्रेन ऐसे टकराएगी, हाथी मर जाएगा. ये 50 टन की ट्रेन अगर ऐसे जा रही है और 5 टन का हाथी ऐसे मार दे, पूरी ट्रेन डिरेल हो जाती है. So martial arts, it's a science.
Beautiful analogy.
It's a science. Martial arts is based on mathematics. अभी क्या है, लोग पढ़ते नहीं मार्शल आर्ट्स को, रटते हैं. क्या रटते हैं? टेक्निक्स टू गेट पॉइंट्स इन द कंपटीशन. अगर पहले से ये स्पोर्ट्स होता तो उसका नाम मार्शल स्पोर्ट्स हो जाना चाहिए था ना. आर्ट क्यों है? क्योंकि इसके अंदर कला है.
कला है, क्राफ्ट है.
कला है, क्राफ्ट है. क्राफ्ट साइंस पे बेस्ड है. यू कैन नॉट टेक द साइंस अवे फ्रॉम मार्शल आर्ट्स.
That's the art and the science.
Yeah, okay. You cannot take the mathematics away from it. The whole body is in triangle, circle, square, straight line. सबसे पहले
Triangle
circle, squares,
and
straight lines.
Tell me more
Okay.
about this.
अभी बता रहा हूँ आपको. And number 3, number 4, number 5, number 8, number 12. Very important for being a martial artist.
3,
Yeah. 4,
4,
5,
5, 8, 12.
8, 12. Okay. आपका ये जो कैमरा है ये 3 है. The strongest structure is pyramid. 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Triangle has how many angles?
3.
3 angles. Okay. Look at your finger. How many joints? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
3.
1, 2, 3. Leg 1, 2, 3. You are sitting, you are making a triangle. You are making a triangle. How do you off balance a triangle? By off balancing one apex of a
Triangle.
triangle. If I have to off balance you, I don't need few force. I off balance a apex
One
of you.
One of the apex.
Yeah, when somebody touches me or grabs me, I off balance one apex of him to control him. So if you have to use force to do a technique, that means your martial arts is not good. That is a concept of 3.
You have not learned the art and the science of the
Yeah.
this scripture, I would
Yeah.
call it.
3 means offense, counter offense, recounter to the counter.
Offense, counter offense, recounter to the offense. To the
Yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I do something, you will do something. I
Yeah.
need to do something to you.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Again 3.
Yeah. So this is 3.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
3 means 3 seconds. In a real street scenario, I should be able to terminate you and finish you in 3 seconds. If I take anything more than that, he's going to come and hit me. So you have to be that fast in real life. That is the difference between martial artist और जो वैसे ही लड़ते हैं. I'm not talking about sports guys. I'm going to come to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then comes number 4. ये जो आप इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं इसमें कितने पिलर्स हैं? 4 पिलर्स हैं. What is 4 in a body? 2 hands, 2 feet. Okay?
4 limbs, what we call
4.
it.
4 also represents principle of bisecting lines in mathematics.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Whenever 2 lines bisect,
Yeah.
it creates 4 angles. Whenever you touch my hand with your hand, it gives me 4 angles. 1 angle, 2 angles, 3 angles, 4 angles.
Wow.
I don't need to think and see to hit you. It'll automatically happen. Okay? That's 4. 5 represents your 5 senses and 5 body organs. Heart, lung, liver, spleen, kidney. And 5 visible targets, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose. 5 senses. You destroy the 5 senses. When I teach the military, I teach them to puncture the 5 organs. Stop the heart, guys finish. Liver puncture, guys finish. Kidney rupture, guys finish. Spleen and lungs finish. When I teach them how to fight with knife, you have to destroy in 3 seconds. Okay? So that's the essence of 5. 8 is a sign of infinity. You see, look at your eyes, it's called the eye of the tiger. Infinity is a sign which can block anything which is coming to you. Upward figure 8. That's figure 8, you see? So if you see it's moving, that can be a slap, a hammer. So everything is in a flowing, you see, and it's making a circle. So, and the closest distance between 2 points is straight line in maths. Point A to point B is a straight line.
Straight line.
Yeah. So if you raise a broken beer bottle to hit me, I'm not going to block and then hit you. You raise your hand, I will punch you. Point A to point B. I'm not going to waste
You
my
raise
time.
your hand and you punch me directly.
Yeah,
Wow.
why? there's a saying.
The shortest time.
Yeah, so there's a
Shortest
saying, on your preparation to attack, not yet attack, I stop you. It's called stop hit.
On your preparation to attack.
Yeah, so
I
you
don't stop
prepared
you,
to
I
attack me.
you.
So you pick that, that's your preparation.
Yeah.
Load, I punch you. I stopped you.
In your preparation to attack,
Not yet attacked,
not yet attacked,
I hit
you
you.
hit you.
It's called stop hit. When you use the word combat, it is counter on motion before attack time.
I'm not surprised you're a Shifu. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm from the core of my heart, thank you.
And we have to always be like this. That is martial artist, fighting gentleman. जितना वृक्ष बड़ा होता है उतना झुकता है. तो जो लोग मार्शल आर्ट सीख के चौड़ में आते हैं ना, दैट मीन्स उनकी, जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, परवरिश सही नहीं हुई है. मार्शल आर्ट्स की ट्रेनिंग सही नहीं मिली है. अगर मार्शल आर्ट्स सीख के आप गुंडे बनना चाह रहे हो तो मत करो भाई.
You've not
Yeah.
learned the lesson, I
हाँ.
would say.
और ये आपके टीचर को, बिकॉज देयर इज नो गुड एंड बैड स्टूडेंट्स, दे ओनली गुड एंड बैड मास्टर्स. उसमें उस बच्चे की गलती नहीं है. दैट इज माई शीफू ऑलवेज सेड, इट इज बेटर टू सर्च फॉर अ राइट टीचर फॉर 10 years rather than learning wrong under a teacher for 10 years. क्योंकि उस 10 साल को अनलर्न करना
It's a
बहुत
lifetime
मुश्किल है.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shifu, help me understand, why is Bruce Lee considered so reverend?
Actually, I have a different thoughts on Bruce Lee. Also, I practice his art also, Jeet Kune Do. Yeah, Jeet Kune Do means the JKD, the way of intercepting fist.
JKT, yeah.
That's what I just explained you. Stop hit. His primary training was in Wing Chun, which also I do, and Choi Li Fat. And he added fencing, modern boxing, and wrestling, and created a system for street combat. But though he was himself a big philosopher, but he always portrayed the aggressive side of the martial arts, you know, like, which is what we call the asymmetrical violence. You know, when asymmetrical violence is like for example, let me give you an example. Jiu-Jitsu is the best sports, best martial arts in the world when it talks about fighting on the ground. Okay, and you have techniques, you know, to reverse the mount and do all those things. But when two people have grabbed your wife, they have your child, and they are taking them away, you don't have 15 seconds to, you know, snuggle with him on the floor. You need to be up in good 4 to 5 seconds and fighting. For that, you require asymmetrical violence, which is dirty tactics. You know, we call it escape to gain safety, E eyes, T throat, G groin, S shin, and Kino Mutai, the art of biting. We have 7 ways of biting.
7 ways of biting.
Yeah. Which I teach to the military also. You know, you tear, you rip. You know,
By a bite you can tear.
yeah, you can tear, you can rip, you can nibble, जैसे चूहा करता है. So there are different ways, different teeth we use to bite. After we deploy capsula method, means I lock you in a way where you cannot move, and then a bite. A bite has to be an uninterrupted bite for good 5 to 6, 7. Because if you remember a match between Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, Tyson was getting beaten up, and then he ultimately bit his ear, and then he was running like a baby. So that is a kind of a pain the bite can give. So, like I said, that you have martial arts, you have martial sports,
Martial sports, yeah.
like karate, taekwondo, you know. Now they become competitive sports. You know, you become black belt in 2 years. You know, it's not the traditional part. They're doing more sports. You have little more tough sports like Muay Thai, combat sports, Sanshou,
Muay Thai, yeah.
And Muay Thai is a sports. I train in Muay Chaya,
Yeah.
which is used by the bodyguards of the king to protect. It's different. And then your MMA, mixed martial arts. But there are still rules and regulation, and it only gives you a myopic view of fighting one person. It's like शादी का घोड़ा होता है ना. You know that you are safe in that cage.
Yeah.
There's only a referee, and you only have to fight this guy to win that trophy, to earn this much amount
That's
of
it.
money.
And I think that's the primary difference between sports and...
Yeah, that's a myopic view said. But when you are in the street, it's not this guy.
Yeah.
It is also this guy, that guy I don't know, and what is...
And you cannot just have blinkers on. Yeah?
Yes.
Since you are talking about different forms, and I understand that you have been trained on 6 different forms of martial arts.
Not 6,
7, 8, 9.
9.
9. Okay, so let's start with Kung Fu, right? Shaolin Kung Fu. One thing that you have learned for Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yes.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's very dangerous and deadly. It is like a mother of MMA. Shaolin Kung Fu is called Ti Da Shui Na Dian Shu Dian Mai. Ti is to kick. Da means to strike with hands, elbows, palms. Okay. Shui means to wrestle and throw. Na means to lock and capture, control. Dian Shu means hitting on the pressure points that touch. Dian Mai means muscle tendon ripping. So, like I said, if you are given that kind of knowledge, you need to have a very calm mind.
You're also trained on Filipino Kali.
Yeah.
How to fight with a stick, black stick. Tell me more about that. One thing that
Filipino
you've learned.
martial arts, they use a lot of blades, but Kung Fu also uses a lot of weapons.
One thing that you've learned from that.
Aggression.
Aggression. One thing that you've learned from Muay Thai.
I won't use the name Muay Thai, but Muay Chaya,
Muay
I would
Chaya.
say, is like I train to be a fighting gentleman.
Fighting gentleman. What a beautiful name to have.
Yeah.
One thing that you've learned from JKD.
Snappy.
Kai Chi.
Tai Chi. How to use someone else's force to defeat him.
And based on the learning that you've had, you came up with Kanishka combatives.
Yeah, Shifu Kanishka Combatives.
Kanishka combatives.
Combatives.
Combatives. Tell me about that.
It is a distilled version of all my 42 years of martial arts training. And हमारे यहाँ 108 की माला होती है. So I have named it 108 system. All the things are 108 in that. 108 empty hands technique, 108 weapon techniques, 108 locks,
108 locks.
Yes. But you don't have to learn it. It should happen on its own. When you study the body, you can recreate. It's just like a painter, He doesn't paint the same thing again and again. If you ask any painter to paint your face, every time he would make a
Draw it
different,
differently, yeah.
with a different emotion, So martial artists are like that, Artist हैं. इसलिए मैं स्पोर्ट्स कह के उसको डिमीन करना कभी पसंद नहीं करता हूँ. जब भी लोग इस तरह की बात करते हैं, ऑल्सो यूजिंग द वर्ड सेल्फ डिफेंस, विच इज़ अ वेरी रॉन्ग वर्ड. विमेन सेल्फ डिफेंस, इट्स अ रॉन्ग वर्ड. यू ऑलरेडी पुट अ विमेन इन अ पोजिशन ऑफ विक्टिम. कोई आएगा मारेगा, आपको डिफेंड करना. नो, व्हाई डोंट यू टॉक अबाउट विमेन एम्पावरमेंट?
Women empowerment, that's a better word.
You empower the girls with the tools so that they can save themselves
Yeah.
or protect themselves and feel confident about it. It's less about fighting. It's more about surviving. Safety is different from sports. And all these techniques can be learned in National Geographic techniques, National Geographic TV. The tiger on the hunt teaches you how you cannot be a victim.
Yeah, yeah.
वो 3 ही तरीके के प्रे चुनता है झुंड में से. 3 तरीके के हिरन चुनता है. अगर आप टाइगर है एंड यू आर ऑन प्राउल हंट, 50 हिरन होगे ना, उसमें से आप पहले वो चुनोगे जो झुंड में से बहुत दूर है. So, recommendation for boys and girls is never take a lonely street or a route going to your house. Number 2, the one who's not aware. सब लोगों के कान खड़े हो जाते हैं शेर को सेंस करके, बट कुछ 3-4 फिर भी पानी पीते रहते हैं सर नीचे करके. डोंट कैरी योर मोबाइल. एंड आज के 90% पीपल वॉक लाइक दिस. नीचे देख के बात करते. दे हैव नो आइडिया व्हाट इज ऑन द लेफ्ट. वॉक लाइक स्ट्रेट. Look left and right. So if somebody wants to mug you, he knows the guy is aware. Number 3, जो हिरन लिम्प करता है या डिसेबल्ड होता है, तो हम अपनी भाषा में बोलते हैं वर्क ऑन योर फिटनेस. कि अगर 4 लोग आपको चेस करें ना, तो इतना भाग सको कि वो थक जाए, आप ना थको. बी फिजिकली फिट, मेंटली अलर्ट. टेक्निक सीखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है आपको.
Help me understand, since we are talking about the women empowerment, and you have led different camps as well.
Yeah.
In that space, you have trained military, you have trained army officers, you have trained people from Air Force, Navy, police, you have trained all these people, you have trained celebrities as well.
Yeah.
Before we get there, I want to understand what is the discipline required to neutralize in case you get into any street fight tomorrow.
The discipline required is to control your emotions. The discipline required is control your breath. इसी जब आपको डर लगता है ना, the first thing you start to do is आपकी ब्रीदिंग चेंज जाती है. आप नाक से सांस नहीं लेते, फिर आप ऐसे सांस लेते हो. लोग मजाक उड़ाते हैं कराटे वालों का, क्या है. ये हमको सिखा दिया जाता है. We are taught to calm things down. भगवान ने भी सिखाया है. लोग सीखते नहीं.
Tell me if
रोना और हंसना तो सबसे अच्छे इमोशन है स्ट्रेस को हटाने के लिए. आप हंसते हो, स्ट्रेस जाता है. रोते हो तो स्ट्रेस जाता है. Why do you feel light? So breath is a main thing in martial arts. You can use that chi to heal, you can use it to hit. Very simple.
this is so interesting because ना मैं किसी की वेट करता हूँ, ना मैं किसी को वेट करवाता हूँ, and you have worked with Bollywood stars.
Yeah.
And as they say that in Bollywood there is a tendency in people to come late.
Yeah.
You have trained Akshay Kumar, you have trained Shah Rukh Khan in
Yeah.
Gone 2.
Yeah.
You have trained individuals from army, military, navy.
Yeah.
One, how do you deal with them? And what has been the common denominator that you've been able to conclude for yourself having worked with all these leaders?
No, I think I associate more with army. That's why if you see my lifetime, I've done less movie work, more with military people, because that thing for respecting and the time and that honor, you know, वो मुझे ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. I don't like, चापलूसी करना, you know. And there was an incident which happened with the actress, I won't take a name, and I told the director that, she's training with me because she has to look good. So if she comes late, I will not teach her. You can take me out of the movie. And then she's a very big actress, very, very big actress. And
now in Bollywood, now in Hollywood, sorry. Okay. But let's not name.
And we trained together very good after that. From the next day, we were both on time. We respected each other. Yeah.
So tell me, how was your experience of working with Shah Rukh Khan?
Very humble man.
Yeah.
Very, very, very humble man. Very humble man. And he gives you your due respect. A great guy. And that's why he's what he is.
You have trained Akshay Kumar as well.
Yeah.
How was that?
I trained him for a couple of episodes.
Huh.
For 7 Deadly Arts with Akshay Kumar. Yeah. So, and because I was involved also in scripting of that show. Yeah, it was great working with all of them, yeah. But because Shah Rukh Khan has never trained before, and it was his first main action film, and I was really surprised with his commitment. I was with him for 5 months, and training him And there was no rigs used in that film. There was no dummy. There was no rigging used for that film. Yeah.
And your experience of having worked with Army.
I'm very grateful and fortunate that Indian Army gave me that opportunity and trusted me, and to impart the knowledge to the Special Forces. And I would really like to thank Colonel Syed Saha for that he recognized, and he he basically propagated and told people about why the Special Forces need close quarter combat, and why we need to learn knife fighting and all those kind of things. And so he gave me that opportunity, to train. And after that, I was given 60 commandos from different Special Forces unit in Special Forces training school. And after that, the feedback was taken from them, because they were all trained in MMA, they were trained in karate, they were trained in Krav Maga and different styles. And then they were training in what I was training them. So feedback went very well. And I was the close combat mentor for Special Forces Training School almost for 6-7 years.
Wow.
And during that time, I trained the Marcos, Garods, and a lot of counter, terrorist agencies and stuff. Yeah.
So you are a master to so many individuals. You have taught martial arts to, as we were talking about. I'm just curious, who has been your favorite fighter, dead or alive? And why?
Dead or alive, and why? I'll name my masters only. For me, heroes and all those, they don't make a difference, They're film stars.
Any fighter?
Yeah, I'm telling you. For me, my teacher, Master Wong, he's the best fighter. Shifu Yanzi, Shifu Hengjung, these are like real masters. They might not be on the screen.
Yeah.
Whether you take Tiger Shroff and other people, they're good gymnasts, but they're not fighters. They're not fighters. They're not pro fighters. They can do the calisthenics, they can do the gymnastic part of it, but they're not trained in the art form of it.
Yeah.
Not,
it's more of cosmetics than the real
it
art.
is. It's all related to the film industry, So for me, but as if you say so, I would say Hoyen Jia and Tam Sam and Wong Fei Hong. Yeah, 3 names. Yeah. These are all kung fu fighters. Yeah.
In between you used the word MMA.
Yeah.
Of course, I've heard the word kung fu, and in the recent past, I've started to hear this word MMA.
Mixed martial arts. Yeah.
Yeah, mixed martial arts. What do you think? Which is the closest art that one can learn to neutralize street fights?
कोई भी नहीं. You have to understand. Actually, लोग confuse कर जाते हैं.
हाँ.
लोगों को लगता है कि Krav Maga is for street, या जो मैं इंडिया लेके आया था Pikiri Tertia is for street, JKD is for street. You can derive the techniques from any system, but you have to understand what is combat in street like. It employs edge and impact weapon, multiple opponent training, mass attack. If you're not trained in it, how can you train your students to fight like that? In America, there was a MMA coach who ended up in coma. He fought 4-5 guys. He was in coma. MMA is one of the toughest sport. No doubt about it. It is the toughest combat sport in the planet right now. But one-on-one. One-on-one. It's not 1 versus 5. They do not train in edge and impact weapon. There are a lot of things matters. Survival is not about kicking and punching only. Of course, there is one part of it. But there are a lot of MMA, ex-MMA champions who are now military coaches also. You have to have the knowledge. Like I trained with Paul Vunak, who was a coach for SEAL Team 6. So he taught me mass attack. He taught me, how to deal with all these kind of things. Grant Wone was a knife specialist in Pikiri Tertia Kali. You need to have proper knowledge, If somebody comes and tell me, can you fight in MMA? Okay, I draw my knife. Can you fight? No, it's not allowed. Why are you challenging me to fight your way? Why don't you fight freeway?
Yeah.
आप मेरे को आके अपनी केज में बोल रहे हो कि मेरी तरीके से लड़ो, नहीं मैं अपनी तरीके से लड़ूंगा. केज में आप नाइफ अलाउ नहीं करोगे. You're not allowed to bite, you're not allowed to eye gouge, you're not allowed to do a lot of things. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best one-on-one. बट मैं अगर आपको माउंट करके घूसे मार भी रहा हूँ सड़क में, ये भाई साहब पीछे से क्या खड़े होके देखेंगे, एक डंडा मारेंगे, एक लात मुझे मारेंगे. सो 2-on-1 BJJ is not working. So no art is good and bad. Every art has its own space. Taekwondo is best in kicking, karate is best in punching and stuff. Boxing gives you amazing body calisthenics and stuff. You need a lot of components in street. You need to know long range, close range, medium range, extreme close quarter, takedowns, repel that. Then you need to understand how to fight with one person, 2 people, 3 people, stack and shield strategy. It's very technical. So it's, people who says MMA is closest to street fight, either that's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
For
So
me.
Shifu, help me understand. When we are always war ready, right? Or when we are always fight ready.
Yeah.
What is the impact of that psychologically and emotionally on an individual?
Like I said, he's very calm. I know how much hurt I can give you. And that is the reason I will not hit you. जो सुशक्त होता है वही सुरक्षित होता है सर. जो साइलेंट वाटर रन्स डीप जो बोलते हैं ना, जो बीच में जो पानी होता है ना बहुत आवाज करता है, और जब समुद्र के बीच में चले जाते हो ना उसमें बहुत ठहराव होता है, लेकिन सबसे डरावना वही होता है. तो जितने भी लोग ये यैप करते रहते हैं ना पै 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 पै, ये वो शैलो वाटर्स वाले हैं. और जो असली मास्टर होगा ना वो बहुत शांत होगा. जब करना होगा कर देगा. द गुड द बैड एंड अगली. व्हेन यू वांट टू शूट डोंट टॉक.
How do you maintain this focus? How do you maintain this discipline?
जब आई जस्ट बीइंग अ स्टूडेंट, और इसकी बहुत ट्रोलिंग भी होती है मेरे लिए. पीपल कीप ट्रोलिंग मी अ लॉट. हम तो पूरी जिंदगी एक मार्शल आर्ट नहीं सीख पाए. यह आदमी अपने आप को बोलता है 9 मार्शल आर्ट सीखता है. सीखता हूँ, मेहनत करता हूँ, पैसे लगाता हूँ, यहाँ से उड़ता हूँ, दूसरे कंट्री में जाता हूँ, ट्रेनिंग करता हूँ. 8 पासपोर्ट है मेरे पास. आपने कितनी ट्रेनिंग की आप ये बताइए. कितने बार उड़े हो? अपने कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर निकल के कभी गए हो? कितनी बार गए हो? एक ब्लैक बेल्ट बनने के बाद पैसा आपके पास मेरे से ज़्यादा हो सकता है, नॉलेज नहीं हो सकती भाई. My action speaks louder than words.
Reminds me of this conversation with Anupam Kher and Shah Rukh Khan. Anupam ने कहा कि यार कि are you the last of the stars? वो कहता है कह दूँ क्या, कह दूँ आपके सामने मैं कहना चाहता हूँ पर कह दूँ क्या. कहता है कह दूँ. And the beautiful dimple that he has and the cuteness, that the charm that he brings in. कहता है I'm the last of the stars. ऐसा क्यों कह रहे हैं आप? कह रहे यार काम मिलने से पहले तो सारे लोग मेहनत करते हैं, पर काम मिलने के बाद मुझसे ज़्यादा मेहनत कोई नहीं कर सकता. So when you are saying this ना,
यही है जो मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ.
उतनी मेहनत भी करता हूँ. How do you keep this beginner's mind, that beginner's mindset alive?
I saw this in my father. I have 4 generations of journalists coming from family, okay? Coming from a family of journalism. My brother is also editor right now in one of the news channel. My bhabhi is also editor. My father was editor of 3 very big newspaper in this country. And one day we got stuck in Nepal. And if you remember, Hrithik Roshan का एक नेपाल में बहुत बड़ा किस्सा हो गया था. And he ran. I said, आप कहाँ जा रहे हो? He said, reporting करने. I said, but you are an editor. You can call and send. He said, no. I was a reporter. until my last breath I will remain a reporter, no matter what.
I read
वही
it
मेरा
somewhere.
पेट्रोल है, वही मेरा पेट्रोल है, मुझे और कुछ नहीं चाहिए.
I read it somewhere, when you've got knowledge, time, and money, use either one of them to invest on the other two and continue to do that. If you've got
Yeah.
knowledge, get time and money. If you've got time, get money and knowledge. And if you've got money, invest on knowledge and time. I'm going to bring a question for you that I've been waiting to ask you on this show.
Yeah.
We call it ex-monk's drive. And very often people ask me, Gaurav, why do you call it ex-monk's drive? Now, if you look at X, the cross,
Yeah.
that's the sword of a warrior.
Yeah.
I call it the warrior monk.
Yeah.
Guru Gobind Singh Ji coined this term called Sant Sipahi.
जी.
When you've got the calmness of a monk, the aggression of a warrior,
Yeah.
when you've got the stillness of a monk and the sharpness of a warrior,
Yeah.
when you have got the equanimity of a monk and the alertness of a warrior, I fell in love with this term called the warrior monk. And when I started looking at the root of that, it took me to a few temples in China. And one of the temples that they spoke about is Shaolin temples.
Exactly.
And that is what drew me. I have to find the true warrior monk in India. I asked from the universe, and the universe said, Tathastu. And we got connected. That's how we got connected. And I spoke to you about that as well earlier as well during one of our meetings. Tell me, how do you maintain this polarity? Not easy. I struggle with that, Shifu. I struggle with that.
इसलिए that Zen is important. ध्यान is important. इसलिए Shaolin Kung Fu is, like I said ना, ध्यान, martial arts, medicine. You know how to hurt someone, you must know how to fix. The ध्यान will keep you balanced. We are not perfect. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. He is not. We move. But then our body is like charge है ना, रात को चार्ज करने की ज़रूरत है. तब तो फ़ोन आपका चार्ज होता है ना. This is our charger. And I'm a 34th generation warrior lay monk. From Shaolin. In Shaolin you have two fully indoctrinated monks, warrior monks. Fully indoctrinated monks are celibate, they stay in the temple, they read scriptures, they do the puja, chanting. Some people go to medicine, and then they're warrior monks.
The warrior monks.
Fighting monks. Yeah. So they learn the art of combat with the essence of Zen. And that is the beauty of Shaolin Kung Fu. I have not seen it in any other martial arts. FMA is extremely aggressive, but there is no part of healing in it. It's only you'll see in Asian, Japanese and Chinese culture, you'll find that. You'll find that immense peace, focus, when they bow down with respect and stuff, But that aura you can scan.
Yeah. In Sikhism, there is a breed of people who fight, right? Those people who wear those long blue color clothes and then turban, and then they carry a cross here. Do you see any overlap in the warrior monks and the warrior monks from India?
See,
from Sikhism primarily.
It's the philosophy. एक बार मैंने अपने टीचर को ये शायद मेरे को बिकॉज पंजाबी ठीक नहीं आती, बट मैंने ट्रांसलेटर को बोला था कि I was because he was narrating me a lot of stories of Chinese generals and how they fought, and I said हमारे अभी ये चिड़ी नाल दे बाज लड़ावा थे गुरु गोविंद सिंह नाम था, and he was so surprised, and he said, this is what a fighter is. He said, in that utter state of chaos you are calm. एक meditation की एक definition है. Meditation is not the art of stressing. A lot of people focus. आप meditation करने जाते हो, why do you meditate? It's to de-stress. अगर मैं आपको already stress दे दूँ, inhale from here, exhale from here, do this, do that, मैं तो already आपको उसमें डाल दिया है, in a state of stress. It's an art of de-stressing. Meditation is like water flowing. Thoughts will come and thoughts will go. A time will come when you will become still. So to achieve calmness and stillness is not meditation. It's very easy. मतलब कमरे में आपने बिठाया है, बत्ती बंद की, कैंडल लगाया एंड सॉफ्ट म्यूजिक बजा दिया एंड वाह यू आर एंजॉइंग इट एंड सडनली आई कम फ्रॉम बिहाइंड एंड आई प्ले डेफ लेपर्ड एंड मेटालिका एंड देन यू विल से हे आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेडिटेट दैट मीन्स यू आर नॉट मेडिटेटिंग to achieve stillness and chaos is real meditation. That is why martial arts, you see people doing Tai Chi in the park, there's people talking birds chirping, gaadi ka horn kuch, but when people are doing the forms, the kata, that is moving meditation.
Finding calmness in the chaos.
So prototype बदल जाता है ना, आपने बंद कमरे में meditation की, आप उठे घर से बाहर निकले, there's chaos, traffic, office, everybody is chaos. You're not training in chaos. But when you train in chaos, when you go to chaos, you will still be still.
You know, I got the goosebumps when you quoted Guru Gobind Singh Ji, because I could relate to who he is. And I loved it when you said that that's not meditation. Meditation is when you can actually stay calm in the chaos. So thank you, Shifu. I couldn't have asked for more. Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, Master.
Thank you so much.